What's going on, guys? RoundedTikTak here. What if I was to tell you there's a weapon in the game that doesn't blow up propanes, that hits twice per heavy attack, has multiple viable builds you can run, it is a ranged melee weapon, and it has a dance and stun mechanic built into it? If I was to tell you that weapon existed, would you believe me? Would you consider it one of the best weapons in the game? I would. Let's get into it. So it's like 11 o'clock p.m. I'm usually done editing and uploading right now, but I couldn't do any of it because my computer was not working. I figured out the problem. It was my 144 hertz monitor, which I recently started using, is not set up correctly with something, and it was making my gameplay look like I was stuck in mud. So we're gonna have to re-record everything, but that's okay because I really want to talk about this weapon. Like I said, all of those things and more are true with this. It's unequivocally the best hammer in the game. There's nothing that comes close for damage, crowd control, and everything else in between. Attack speed, you can use it on multiple heroes, although the one you see in front of you now is my favorite build that I've played with, or anything similar to this. I really enjoy this hammer. Granted, it's just a hammer, so it's not going to be the best weapon in the game, but it is Bundle Bus, Wraith, Pain Train levels of good for what it is. I did a ton of damage with this weapon, and since all of my footage is messed up, we're going to record this video slightly different, and I'm just going to show you a clip of something that I was able to achieve during a game. We were playing around with a build very similar to this. I think I may have one thing changed on it, and when I saw this number pop, my jaw hit the floor. So let's just find this video real fast. I'll be right back. So bear with me, like I said, don't mind my head back there. This is from recordings that I wanted to bring you guys, but all of my recordings got butchered. But let's take a look at this screenshot real quick. 559,000 damage, 279,000 damage on one heavy attack with a melee weapon. That is unheard of in this game. Absolutely, unequivocally unheard of for a melee weapon to be able to do this. On top of that, I don't even have Rock and Riff activated. I am just a constructor in a 4-man party at level 174 enemies, and we're hitting for over 500,000 damage. This weapon is absurd, and that's not even the best part. The damage is fantastic. The fact that you can use it from range and use it effectively and it kills everything is what really elevates this weapon to another degree, because no longer do you have to get so close to the enemies that you're in melee range for them. But we're gonna get there. But let's talk about what roles you might want to put this on, because I tried two and they each have their pluses and minuses. So if we check out the weapon itself, this is how I currently have mine rolled. If you choose to do this, you will have the higher DPS option, if and only if you plan on using Totally Rocking Out every single time. The build we currently have is crit damage, attack speed, allowing for a 0.58 second attack speed and really doing a ton of damage when you have Totally Rocking Out activated. The other thing you could do is play it with Sentinel Bull. With Sentinel Bull, without Totally Rocking Out activated, you have a 57.5% crit chance with 320% crit damage. Again, a decent build, but it locks you into playing both of those characters. Therefore, if you happen to run this build on a constructor or a defense constructor or mega base, power base, something like that, and you want to use it as a hammer for a constructor, it's not going to be great with this build. But with a simple flick of the wrist, you can make it just fine for any character in the game, including defenders. The only perk that you would end up changing here is this attack speed for an actual crit rating. This will allow it to have around 40% crit chance, which is high enough double crit damage, and 1 attack speed, which is probably some of the best perks you can ask for. Real quick, before we get into some footage about it, just this is the 2 builds that I tried the most on. I didn't want to bring Pop Penny because I don't feel like running her in the main slot plus 2 other ones to activate Totally Rockin' Out is worth it. So we used Guardian Bull. He increases your critical rating by 50, which is, you know, diminishing returns. You saw it, we're at 57.5 with no crit rating in the build. If we have crit rating in the hammer, it jumps up to close to 65, 70. We also are bringing sub wafers. Although these were nerfed, they are still the best way, especially for testing and showing things, to just eat a sub wafer and do it as well. Bringing down the house is fantastic here. 12.5% chance to activate Rock and Riff. You're going to be spamming his heavy attack. And since we're spamming his heavy attack, we're going to bring software. Increase hardware attack efficiency by 65%. These 2 you can change around with. You can try multiple things if you would like to, but I brought Must Protect. I always forget about Eddie, and I wanted to check him out and see how well he does, and he does fantastic. Corrosive Strikes is another one. This is very important. This is not a regular affliction. In fact, you could probably play this character as well and do very, very well with her. The reason being is that the crit damage, the affliction is actually based on the damage dealt and not just any kind of number. So if you recall weapons, if you shoot him with an SMG, the affliction tick is still going to be 4,300, and if you shoot him with a blunderbuss, it's still going to be 4,300. Since this is a hammer and it hits for 559,000 damage on a crit, you're doing 37% of that over 3 seconds, which is a ton of damage. So you can like hit them once, hit them twice. If one of those crits, you will kill them. The other build that I was playing around with, which I'm actually not going to suggest because Paleo Luna just works better with attack speed, is something like this. Saurian Claws, Blast from the Past, Saurian Hide, Saurian Focus, Sub Wafers, bringing down the house once again, and going Coconuts. This was okay. There was nothing wrong with the build. She has more survivability with Blast from the Past, but in actuality, I was doing more damage and having more survivability and more fun with this hero, which is crazy to say because I would never ever tell you to play a constructor melee class. It's not fun anymore, especially at higher levels, which is all the footage you're about to see. So a couple of things to talk about here. Number 1, the hammer's attack speed. This one right here is double attack speed. We do have Totally Rockin' Out in this build, so this is fine. This is double attack speed, double crit damage. That's how fast it swings. With just one crit, with one attack speed, this is about how fast you will swing. Not too big of a difference, but once you have Totally Rockin' Out kicked in on either one of these hammers, you're going to be swinging like a truck. Number 2, it does not blow up propane, so you can heavy attack, which I'll show in a second, and be completely fine. Let's go about 3 tiles out, and we're going to land here. Let's just kill him real fast, and you guys will see the heavy attack of what I'm talking about. It's very similar to the mic drop. However, I feel it is better than the mic drop. You guys are getting a bit of a sneak peek here. I'm not going to pop the heavy attack, but as you can see, I am handling myself pretty well. If you wanted to, you could throw some survivability into the build as well. There is nothing wrong with that. So the heavy attack is this. He walks out about half a tile and does an AoE in about a 1 tile width and almost 2 tile range. I'll show it to you again. As you can see, it goes to about 2.5 tiles total from the starting point because he takes a step forward. This also can hit twice. I don't think it can hit 3 times due from testing, but all that footage is corrupted, but I don't think it hits 3 times. It can 100% unequivocally hit twice. So technically, if you're very lucky, you could hit for 559,000 times 2, which is over 1 million on 1 attack of a heavy attack of a weapon. On top of that, this is ranged, so if enemies are walking towards you, you can just use this ability and kill them from 2 tiles away before they get next to you. It also has a crazy high impact for a hammer. Hammers normally do have a high impacts, but if we take a look at the Husk Warper at 2797, and then we take a look at this at 4,000, the Smasher Basher at 3,900, it is probably one of the highest impact hammers we have, and that becomes very, very noticeable. Let me just farm a little bit of metal so I can grab some cookies, and I will show you exactly how much damage we are doing. All right, we got a Smasher here. Let's see what we can do. We're gonna eat a biscuit. We're gonna go down here. And we're gonna hit him once. You're gonna see the double damage pop up. Did you see it? Right there. That was triple damage. And then the affliction tick for 78,000. Look at that. Level 140 smasher, 3 heavy attacks, and half a turret. It's kind of nuts how hard you can actually hit with this weapon. Again, the range attack, as you can see, is amazing. You can kill guys from pretty far away. As I miss, you can basically, oh, he's stuck. You can basically one-shot any enemy in the game that's not a husky husk. But even them, they, after corrosive strikes, almost die. Plus, it adds the dance mechanic to any enemies that might be in range. These guys don't matter. Because of the 6 perk and its stun or knock down, you get the dance perk. Then every time you use that heavy attack and every time it even shifts their footing, they end up getting the dance perk. Here's another something that usually cannot be done too easily. Hold a C-bot at level 174 with healing death burst, all by my lonesome constructor self. I'm telling you, the hammer is ridiculous. For the amount of crowd control it provides, just look how much I'm stunning these guys. Look at this. I'm walking him away from the objective. Granted, again, it's only a hammer, so you're not going to use them on all builds. But if you like constructors, if you like playing constructors or enemies that are a bit kind of in your face, or I'm sorry, if heroes that are kind of in your face and kind of rough around the edges, I haven't found a better weapon than this, and that's no lie. I legit have not felt the oomph, the impact of this weapon ever before in this game. It hits hard, it hits heavy, it feels like you're hitting them with a hammer instead of just a regular, you know, melee weapon. It's a ton of fun to use. It's enjoyable. It's really good. All right, so this is the first 40-second part of the defense. And we have one smasher basically dead. We're gonna heavy attack here. Hopefully you can see the double damage numbers. Again, this is the hammer. I think I prefer the other hammer with the 1 crit rating and 2 crit damage and 1 attack speed. I honestly think I prefer that one. If you want to use totally rocking out with the build, that's fine too. Just I think I prefer that hammer. Having to constantly eat cookies just to get a little bit of damage is, I mean, there's nothing too wrong with it, and the hammer still hits like a truck, but I think I prefer the other one. So another thing you can do with this is you can basically sit at the mouth of a tunnel, and since the attack goes through walls, we have a smasher wave. This should be fun. Since the attack does go through walls, you can kind of use it to your advantage with any weapon that pierces, because you guys know how much I love piercing weapons. We got 260k, the tick from corrosive strikes. You could sit back here and kill him. Wait till your energy gets returned to you a little bit. Hit him again. Hit him again. Just do a ton of AoE damage all around. Switch back. Gonna smack him. The mini boss, however, is something that we have a hard time dealing with. Wow. 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 That was a lot of damage for a constructor. Again, shield guys, again, this actually kind of counters them. As long as you hit them with the ranged attack, 90% of the time they'll end up dancing and allowing you to actually get some damage out and kill them. Might take out the heavy attack eliminations as well. It's good when there's a group of enemies, but it's almost impossible to proc when most of the enemies are smashers or something bigger. Look at this CC! Oh my god, that dude was just getting his teeth broken on that wall. Jesus. Again, fridge guys, not too hard of a counter for a melee weapon, which is real nice. I'm gonna switch back to the other one until this breaks to the rest of the game. Let's just see how much better I like it. $311,000. All right, guys, I think that video proves my point. This is the best hammer in the game. If you like constructors, if you like melee class, it's decent on Paleo Luna. I had a ton of fun playing with it. It's got some decent oomph I know for this weapon at least that when I want to play around with a melee weapon, it's going to be top on the list. It's going to be very, very, very high up on that list of the random weapons that I have that I, might want to play with. It's definitely a ton of fun to use. Hits like a truck, has crowd control, has ranged attack. It is a fantastic weapon. On a scale from perk it to pass it, this is 1,000,000% perk this weapon up. And that's really it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. This was a lot of fun to make, even though I had some technical issues at the start. Crazy amounts of damage. It was very impressive. It was an impressive weapon to use, finally. If you guys like live streams, we stream 5 days a week over at twitch.tv/RoundedTikTak. We'd love to have you come by and say what's up. And also, if you guys are trying to support the stream or YouTube in any way, you can always use creator code OOTikTak00. I'd greatly appreciate it, guys. And if you're new to the channel, think about subscribing. I put out videos like this, weapon breakdowns, and everything of the sorts a couple of times a week, and especially when Season 11 hits. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you on the next one. TikTak out.